Well, let's talk about Nigeria. Let's talk about national cohesion, because the most recent devastating and tragic incident in Edo State has re-echoed the all too familiar question mark about national unity, about stereotype, about a lack of cohesion, about ethno-religious differences, about regionalism, and so on and so forth, and how those types of incidents can really expose the divergent position on what Nigeria actually means to all the people of the country. And of course, in this season of celebration, where coincidentally Ramadan and the Lenten season coincided at one point, and to also point out the fact that the Eid al-Fitr celebration was marked on a Sunday, which of course is, the weekly convergence of many activities, both within the Christian and the Muslim community, points to the direction that unity from all the people of this country is essential for Nigeria to make gains on its national development, not just from the religious standpoint of view, but also from an identity standpoint of view. But also the incidents in Edo and a couple of developments within the polity has raised some concerns about how Nigerians are not necessarily united as one people, because it is easy to use stereotype, to use religious identities, to use cultural identities to malign or undermine our unity as a people. So we're going to talk about it with all the other characteristics of Nigeria, 250 plus ethnic groups, so many other tribes and so many other differences. We are a people united in our diversity. That is at least what we love to believe. But of course, there are some lingering challenges that continue to still negatively impact that national unity and cohesion. So with all of these challenges, we're asking you to join the conversation and tell us what you think we can do to strengthen our unity as a people and to help address some of these challenges, like the stereotypes that we have about one another, like the ethno-religious sentiments that continue to, stand in the way of us working together as a people. I mean, 16 people were horrifically killed in Uromi, in Edo State, but you hear some of the conversation online. People are going about whataboutism. What about the incidents, this particular incident in the north? What about this people? What about that people? It's almost as if we're losing a sense of humanity. Is that there's that sense that, listen, we might be Nigerians on paper, but collectively sometimes you get the feeling that we don't identify with one another. And that's why we need to have this conversation now, in the interest of understanding what the challenges are and what we need to do about them, so we can make progress as a nation and as a people. The numbers are showing on your TV screen. You can join the conversation two ways: by calling the numbers and having a conversation, or sending us a message to any of those numbers so that we can articulate what you have to say on this one via text message on WhatsApp. So rules of engagement, once again: if you call in, feel free to state your name, where you're calling from, that's your location, and of course go straight to the point. I will also appreciate it if you turn down the volume of your TV set so it does not interfere with the conversation. We're talking about national unity, national cohesion. What are the challenges and what do we need to do about them? There was also a situation this past week at the Nigerian Senate. Okay, before we get to that, let's listen to our first caller. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, please. This is Mr. Sonny. I'm calling from Lagos.
Mr. Sonny from Lagos. How is Lagos this morning?
Lagos is good.
Good. I would love to interrogate more about the high that you said, but let's make progress. I think I understand what you're trying to say. Go ahead,
All
please.
right, sir.
Go ahead.
So first and foremost, sir, I want to condemn in its entirety what happened in Edo State. But may I ask you a question this morning? What do you do when you have a government who is completely irresponsible? have been pushed to the wall. There is no trust in our judicial system. So people have decided to take law into their hand. Remember, I said I condemn it in its entirety. But then, the government has not given us what it takes for us to say, let's even wait for government and see whether justice will be done.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
The another question I want to ask is, when did Northern Hunters started their exhibition here in the South? Because I listened to a radio station this morning, and they said then guns were found on them and all of that, that they were in a hunting exhibition. Right?
Yeah.
When did they start that? And so the bottom line is that there's no trust whatsoever. So if I have trust, if I know that if I report this man and then he's found guilty, that justice will be done, I wouldn't have to take law into my hand.
Yeah.
So the ruling elite should do more to collaborate us. In fact, even when you want to vote, when there is an election time, you see this, ethnic, this fly all over the place, religious sentiment fly all over the place. By who? By the ruling class. Just watch ordinary Nigeria. When Nigeria Spy is playing ball, I say how we unite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody knows whether it's Garba Lawal, the outside that scored the goal, or it's Chukwudi from this, or Bidemi from the back. Nobody cares. Everybody is happy. But once it comes to politics, you see these political gladiators telling you that this is Igbo man, this is the Hausa man, this is the Yoruba man, and not that this is the person that is going to make life better for people. So government is fully responsible for what is going on now. Those in government, our ruling class. Thank you, God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny. Enjoy the rest of your day. And my regards to the baby there who was trying to also make a contribution. Okay. Sonny, they're calling from Lagos. I think, listen, Jermaine questions, to be honest, and I think he pointed out something quite significant. The trust deficit is that people don't feel they can trust their leaders anymore. And that's why, unfortunately, we keep taking matters into our own hands. And we're going to talk about that trust deficit and that mutual suspicion that we have of each other, especially along ethno-religious lines. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Abdullahi. Barka da Sallah. You are speaking with Shatima Yakudima, calling from Daybreak.
Barka da Sallah, Shatima. Thank you for calling as always. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So, is Abdullahi national unity? What are the major challenges? This is an interesting topic. And we try to enlighten Nigerians to understand one thing. We are all human. We are all human. We created by Almighty Allah. Bring to this world in categories of tribes, religions, and other things. This creation, if God wish, it will have been created us under one ethnic group. But there is purpose of creating us into different ethnic groups and into different regions. There is purpose for that. We should understand that if unity of nation did not bring us under one umbrella, the humanity umbrella have bring us under one entity. What you will do to your neighbor, if somebody did to you feel bad, don't do it to your neighbor. This is one thing we should understand. But honestly speaking, it's very, very, very unfortunate what happened in Edo State. It's very, very unfortunate. If you see people roaming in the bush, you call the attention of the security, security management. They should checkmate them. What are they doing in that bush? For what purpose? Are they have the license of doing that? That's what you will check. But you cannot take laws into your hand by taking people's lives like that. It is rather very, very unfortunate. This is a barbaric act. This is something that we do not expect it from a mature human being. This is something that animal kingdoms they cannot even do. If you look at it very well, animals used to fight on a one thing. When they find something to eat and it is a small quantity. That's why they will fight. Even animals they do not fight. They need to kill themselves.
Right.
It's very, very unfortunate. A human being can kill a human being. It's very, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have been doing it in Nigeria. It's very, very unfortunate. We have to understand that we are all Nigerians. You should not inflict injury upon your neighbor. It's too bad. It's inhuman. But I think what we should understand that is we are one family always. Look, this tough time did not select this is Yoruba, this is Igbo, this whatsoever. We all feel the same. We should unite together and bring an end and let us sanitize our country. Yeah. We should be brothers keepers. We should understand that this religion we are worshiping one God. Whether you are a Christian or whatsoever, if you reach to heaven, that's why the God will judge who was on the right track. It's not you. It's not you in particular. We should understand this. We should try as much as possible to unite ourselves. We should not be divided. United we stand, divided we fall. We should understand this, please. We should take our heart far away from that wickedness. We should embrace our brothers as the one family. So thank you so much. This is my take.
Thank you very much, Shatima. Enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate that take of yours. And yes, at the core of it, to be honest, the humanity in us should override anything else, any social construct that we may have, right, that may push us to the extreme end. If we're not culturally aligned or perhaps on the same page culturally, religiously, we can be on the same page using our humanity. I mean, you have one heart, I have one heart, two set of eyes, ears and everything at the base level, at the barest minimum. That is something that unites all of us as a race. And I think that is Shatima's point, to say the very least. Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Abdullahi Ahmed.
Good morning. Who is on the line?
This is Abasekon calling from Gombe State.
Abasekon, how is Gombe today?
Gombe school, we are in the phobia of eating rice and meat.
Right. I hope you had some rice.
Some good Samaritans that are celebrating broth. But I'm waiting for yours and several others and Shetima.
You might have to wait a little longer, but thank you so much, Abaseko, for calling. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. Sincerely speaking, the topic of today is very wonderful presented and it's a good one to be pondered upon. My question dates back to history. Just as we cannot stop birds from flying over our head, we cannot stop killing, we cannot stop fighting and several other things. The most important thing is we must engage ourselves in fasting and prayers, just like the Muslim did. Why do I say this? Dates back to the creation. There was these two brothers. Adam gave birth to two brothers, and what happened? One killed his brother, and God was not happy. Even when God called him, he said, "Am I his brother's keeper?" So can you see, human beings are desperately wicked. And that is why I want to ask this question. Do we really have value for life? Do we really have value for human beings? Dates back, there was no value, even till date. You see some people who just wake up and destroy the life of somebody simply because of phone, because of purse, because you have 2,000 inside your purse, they will just take away life. So that is the thing that bothers me, that pains me, because we don't have value for life. So, my brother, this is what I want to say about Trust TV. I just want to digress. I want to move further by talking about Trust TV itself. Because Trust TV has been wonderful, presenting news, from news to the basic things they've been saying touches me. The most important thing is that Trust TV encapsulates the content of what we desire to know. The African culture, the daily hustling, history, tradition, the love for Nigeria, the love for Africa, constantly telling the truth. The station is a station to be trusted. As per the name of the station, the gateway to society. My prayer for the station this morning is that as people fasted during this Ramadan, so shall your growth get to a height. You people shall be strengthened. The workers will be promoted spiritually and physically. I'm so impressed with Trust TV.
Thank you so much.
Because of the inclusiveness you have created for Nigerians, personally myself.
Yeah.
My card, I'll burn it because of Trust TV. I don't call any other station. I don't listen to any other station apart from listening to CNN or any other station outside. The basic foundation of mine is to watch Trust TV, and I can mention over 50 names of all the people I've been seeing that present on your station.
Right.
But for Nigeria, please, we should enable this station, because the interaction we get by discussing constantly and airing our view, I so appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
And I also want to thank Trust TV because they give us insight into politics, the state of the nation. May God strengthen and promote all of you physically and spiritually.
Thank you so much,
Abaseka. Of these hazardous duties, because journalists, you people are facing challenges. They kill journalists. Look at Russia to Ukraine, journalists. Look at Israel and Palestinian. Look at journalists, and you people are taking time to give us detailed information, to give us content that makes me to be glad.
Okay. Well, a sad ending there. I hope we didn't just finish all of Abasekon's unit, but thank you so much for the glowing tribute for Trust TV. And listen, I wish I can say we're doing it for the praise, but it's our responsibility. We're actually doing this so that we can improve our own society and, you know, contribute our own quota to national discourse, to national development in the best way possible. Also giving you an opportunity to exercise your own fundamental human right. Thank you so much, Abaseka. We're going to double down on some of the things he pointed out in just a moment. So let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Baraka Salah.
Beg your pardon? Please come again.
I said Baraka Salah.
Baraka Salah to you too. Thank you so much for calling. Who is on the line?
My name is Chijoke. I'm calling from Nsuka.
Chijoke from Nsuka.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Chijoke. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, we're discussing national unity. You know, what are the major challenges? Well, I think the major challenges to Nigerian unity have to do primarily with ethno-religious divide and mutual distrust, you know, amongst the various ethnic groups that make up the country. And I think primarily has to do with the elite, the leaders. I think there are the major problems to national unity, the so-called leaders, because by my own assessment, we don't have leaders yet. What we have are, you know, opportunities that are right on the ignorance of the majority of Nigerians to further their, you know, their pockets and all that.
Yeah.
Because when you look at what is happening in Nigeria, the average Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, Kanuri, Ibibio, you know, ordinarily, take politics aside, they live, you know, perfectly in peace. But you see, the so-called political leaders always cashing on these differences to foment trouble, this is a hatred that continuously divides the country. And that is why each time you have these the mistrust amongst people, it's usually fueled by these political leaders.
Yeah.
So I think we should begin to kind of sensitization on the majority of Nigerians. I think ignorance, illiteracy, and poverty. You see, they weaponize poverty in this country so much so that, people now do not think about their wealth. All they think is about where they can get a cup of rice or a cup of beans. You eat today, and you don't have hope for tomorrow. And the leaders know that because people are so much engrossed and have this debilitating effect of hunger and poverty on them, each time there is a problem, they distribute these their so-called palliatives, rice and beans and all that. But the good book says that man shall not live by food alone. You know, when you eat today, teach me how to fish, don't give me fish. If people are enlightened and, can be self-sustaining and self-dependent, you find people reasoning beyond the stomach infrastructure. And that is why each time there is any kind of crisis, you see the political leaders, they will cash in on it. Either they will tell you it's the Hausas against the Igbos, or they tell you the Fulanis against the Yorubas, they tell you the Bibios against the Kanuris and all that. So I think if we continue at least from the cradle, at least by restructuring our school curriculum, I think we should start from there and begin to teach people a little bit of history so that we know where we're coming from and where we're going to. Because you cannot just come and jump into the train without having a background knowledge of where you're coming from. It's not going to make sense. So the political leaders, it rests squarely in our political leaders because these people are taking undue advantage of the poverty in the land. They're taking undue advantage. And that's why there's nothing they can do. Okay, look at the composition of political leadership in the country. When Yoruba man comes, every what is it called, position is given to Yoruba. When the Hausa comes or the Fulani man comes, every critical political position is given to his people. And you begin to wonder, is this a Yoruba government? Is this an Hausa government? Is this an government? Is this an Igbo government? Probably one day when the Igbos will have a shot also at the national government, they will now appoint all Igbo leaders and all that. So how do you build national unity? You can't build national unity by, this concentration on ethnic, religious consideration above the national unity. It's supposed to bring people together, try to bridge this widening gap of distrust amongst people. We are a large country. We are not even as large as some countries like the US, Russia, and all that. These people live peacefully. Why can't we live in peace? Why can't we make progress? Every day we're talking about keep praying. I have to say prayer and fast. We've prayed and fasted for so long that people are dying from prayer and fasting. Prayers and fasting don't change much. We have to work. You have to work to be able to make progress, not praying and fasting. Praying and fasting is the last resort. And we are blessed natural resources. So I don't see why we should be facing all these challenges. So I think we'll take it back to the political leaders. We have to take back our country from them. Because they don't mean well for the ordinary citizens of this country. And they are the people that are causing all these problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chijoke. I appreciate your take on this one. Have a good day ahead. I don't disagree with him on any of the points raised, especially on the political front. And that point that he made about this mutual distrust along ethnic, religious, and regional lines. And all of that has to do with the structural issues that he also pointed out. Education, healthcare, unemployment, rising poverty, illiteracy, all of these things, they are the perfect ingredient for a very powerful storm. One that has been weaponized by the political elites to their advantage, because divide and rule is one of the, I think, easiest playbook rules that you have in politics, where you can easily just divide the people so you can conquer them. And I fear that this is what has been happening for the longest time in this country. Let's take a quick look at our WhatsApp page to hear some of the thoughts of our contributors this morning. This one is coming from Nandi Bete in Ogoja in Cross River State. It says, the greatest challenge as it concerns national unity is the disposition of the selfish elite who use religion and ethnicity to manipulate the ordinary citizens, especially in times of elections. And I agree with you perfectly on this, just to double down on that point. And it's safe to say that Nigerians are familiar with these tricks of our political leaders who use religion when it is convenient, who use ethnicity when it is convenient, who perhaps, leverage the unchecked anger and frustration of the people to push one group against the other so that they can continue to maintain their stranglehold on this particular group that is attacking the other group, and so on and so forth. It's sad and ironic that we know what they're doing, but we don't seem to know how to, emancipate ourselves, so to say. So that is the big question. How do we get out? And I don't want to put all of the political figures in one basket, but it's safe to say that a majority of our political figures or political elites have not been helping solve the problem. They have been more or less pouring gasoline on the fire so that it engulfs the situation even more. Let's go back to our WhatsApp page to read the next comment. Good morning, Trust TV. Baraka Salah, he says, from Shoyombo Tolani from Abeokuta in Ogun State. As always, Mr. Tolani, thank you so much for joining the conversation. He said, it's very unfortunate what happened in Edo State, and how it goes to the families of the victims. I'm a Yoruba man born and raised in the northern Nigeria among the Hausas. I also have privilege of serving in the military. Traveled through length and breadth of this country. I can authoritatively tell you that the Yorubas and the Hausas have no issues between them. The Hausas are very peaceful. Likewise, the Yorubas. Other tribes who feel that they are better than others should learn from the Hausas and the Yorubas, and Nigeria will be a beautiful place. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Tolani, as always, for joining the conversation. I do appreciate you for this one. And I know we're having this conversation against the backdrop of the terrible situation that happened in Oromi in Edo State. But also take a look at the travel route, because I believe our first caller, Mr. Sonny from Lagos, asked the question, when did northern hunters start hunting in the deep south? I would say a long time ago. This is always a seasonal thing. And you take a look at them departing from rivers, from Port Harcourt, right? They had to go through Aba, they had to go through Nnewi, all of the other southeastern states where all of these security concerns are, and nothing happened up until the point they got to Edo. So yes, mutual suspicion, yes. But then again, is that a good enough ground to do it? Yes, I know you condemned those acts, but also I think it speaks to the failure of government to do the needful to protect Nigerians wherever they may find themselves, because that guarantee has to be there of safety of lives and property. Back to WhatsApp. Let's take a look at this message before we wrap things up. Haruna Seth Kigono from Samina Kalere in Kaduna State says the major challenges related to national unity in Nigeria is religion and tribalism. All these are caused by power struggles of politicians to divide and rule for their selfish interest. The democracy we're seeing in this part of the world is not about public interest, but for personal interest. Listen, I'm not trying to gas up any of our contributors, but I believe one of the things that usually fills my heart is the fact that we have some very, well-rounded contributions. You hear from Nigerians every day on this particular platform, on this segment, some very invaluable contributions. And what hurts me the most is that we're well aware of what's actually happening. We can see behind the curtain. But how are we not able to galvanize ourselves, to conscientize ourselves so that we can find some sort of immunity from this obvious game plan that isn't working for Nigeria? More comments on WhatsApp. Let's take a look at the next one then. Julius Shola from Kwara State says, greetings to all the staff of Trust TV in the house. The issue of national unity is crucial to everyone in the country, but ethnicity and political interest in various class of people has brought a lot of political, social, economic, and security challenges to Nigeria as a whole. Love is a capital and vital links to fix Nigeria back, which is conspicuously missing among our so-called leaders. Yes, and talking about our leaders, I also want to reference the situation with the immortalization of Professor Humphrey Nwosu last week at the Nigerian Senate. You saw that divide. The Igbo caucus or the Southeast caucus of the Nigerian senators left because they felt that, you know, they didn't have the support of the rest of their colleagues. However, that is not necessarily a question. They always disagree and they always agree on something, right? But there was an ethnic element to that conversation around the fact that the man that was going to be immortalized was an Igbo man, and they felt, listen, the Igbos are marginalized in this particular conversation. So it's much more than just what happened in Oromi in Edo State. It's a bigger question around how we are not particularly always on the same page or even in the same book sometimes about where Nigeria should be heading to and what is responsible for our underdevelopment. Let's speak to our next caller who has joined the conversation via phone. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Morning, how is it?
Fine, thank you. Who's on the line and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, my name is Yaulol Jindawa from Dusimai in Katsina State.
Yeah, how is Dusimai this morning?
Dusimai and Katsina State are all in good condition. We are celebrating Salah.
Good to hear that. Please go ahead.
Yes. To be candid, this topic is very, very important because when we look at the concept of national unity, we are talking about unity of the people of Nigeria in general, irrespective of religion or tribal affiliation. But you find that in Nigeria, things are going upside down when we talk of unity. You can see the past leaders were able to even think of uniting Nigeria through so many programs. For example, national NYC and maybe unity schools. They were all established in order to have unity in the country. But you find that things are going upside down. So what I want to say here is that the challenges are many, but we have to look at it in this way. So we can talk of ignorance. Some people are still thinking that one section of the country is for them alone. Well, it is not the same. God created us to be one, and He made us in one single entity or nation, Nigeria. So at least we should think that had it been that God wanted us to be in a different place, He would have put us in different places, but He put us in one single nation, Nigeria. So we should at least try to respect each other so that we will have unity. For example, what happened in Edo State actually is unfortunate. So it happened because of maybe this issue of thinking of that this is not my tribe, that is not my tribe, and this kind of thing is actually ongoing in Nigeria. It's causing a lot of problems.
Yeah. So
the only alternative to me is that there should be sensitization of the people by the leaders so that they will know that Nigeria is a country that belongs to everybody, not only one single tribe or people following one single religion. That is my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malam Yao. I appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your Salah festivities. And yes, this reminds me of the role of an agency called the National Orientation Agency. He did say how, and interestingly, right, all of these setups, whether it's the National Youth Service scheme, the NYC, which came immediately after the Civil War, is a brainchild of the Nigerian military. The unity schools, brainchild of the Nigerian military. Seems that some of the best ideas that we've ever had in this country was born out of the military regime. Yes, we have things like federal character, for instance. Chijoke earlier was talking about how if a Yoruba man is in charge of running the affairs of this country, you find this, systemic appointment of most Yorubas in strategic positions. If a Fulani or Hausa man is in charge, you find this systemic positioning of Hausa Fulani people in the government. So there's always this, and it propagates this idea of us versus them mentality, whether it's at the religious level or at the ethnic level or at the regional level. We're Nigerians, but we're always feeling like, okay, it's us versus them, whatever the us versus them might be. And we have things like federal character. They're supposed to ensure equity and fairness, even in terms of appointments or placement of people in government. And if at all our attempt at this thing called nationhood is to build an egalitarian society, I dare say that politically, democratically, we are failing because of everything that has become evident in the outcome of what we have been practicing so far. So yes, some very fantastic contributions there. We're going to double down on what it will take for us to get out of the woods, right, as far as this conversation is concerned. So thank you so much for all the contributions. Thank you for all the calls. You've been fantastic as always. Thank you for the messages. We do appreciate your insight on this one.